Hello and welcome to the 6th episode of the Let's Talk About It podcast by по-Английски, по-Британски. I'm your host, Ivan. It's been a while since my last episode, and I'm really sorry for leaving you waiting for such a long time. Nevertheless, here I am with an apologetic gift for you, which is the new fascinating and profoundly educational episode full of strange and interesting facts. Why is it so, you could ask? Well, because we are going to talk about dreams. But before we start, I want to tell you about my decision to make the scripts and word sets for the episodes completely free for you. And all you need to do right now is go on my Telegram channel and get them free of any charge. Moreover, there you'll find piles of unique content consisting of my posts in which I share my personal learning tips, write about different interesting facts about the UK culture and the English language as well, and so on. You can find the link leading onto my Telegram channel in the description of this episode. So, are you ready to learn more about dreams? Let's talk about it. Alright, picture this. You wake up in a cold sweat, heart pounding, because in your dream you were being chased by a giant, angry croissant. And for some reason it felt dead serious. I mean, life or death serious. But now you're awake, and all you can think is, what the hell was that? Let's say you've had one of those dreams where you're back at school, totally unprepared for an exam on a subject you've never even studied. Or even worse, you suddenly realize you're standing in front of a crowd in your underwear. Classic, isn't it? I'm sure that happened to everyone, and to me as well. So before we dive into details, let me share some sort of my dream experience that brought me to the idea of making this episode in the first place. Just imagine, I'm at university on the basketball court with my former basketball team. Sounds absolutely normal, right? No, just because the thing is, I've never been to the same university as my former teammates. What's more, the championship match is on the way, and it's down to the wire. We have to win. The crowd's cheering, the game's intense, and everything's on track. But then, in the middle of the match, bang! Out of nowhere, aliens invade the court. Yeah, you heard that right. Aliens. But not just any aliens. These were the kind that looked like they stepped right out of a sci-fi movie, with glowing eyes and sharp claws. And suddenly, we're not just playing for the championship anymore, we're fighting for survival. My teammates and I are ducking behind the grandstands, trying to avoid getting killed, and at one point we even find guns to defend ourselves. Guns. At university. How can anyone believe it's real life? But for some reason, I believed. I woke up from that dream with my heart racing, thinking, what on earth just happened? Why did my brain decide that an epic basketball championship match was the perfect setting for an alien invasion? And more importantly, why was I trying to fight off those extraterrestrials? That's what we're talking about today. What's going on in our brains when we sleep that causes these wild, sometimes totally bizarre scenarios to play out? Are they random? Or is there something deeper at work here? Well, let's dive in and see what we can uncover about this strange and mysterious world of dreams. As for starters, let's talk about one of the most persistent myths out there. Your brain shuts down when you sleep. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say, I'm so exhausted, I feel like my brain is just off. And I get it, we've all been there, right? But spoiler alert, your brain never actually turns off. In fact, it gets super active during sleep. Think about it this way. Imagine your brain is a busy office worker slaving away at a desk all day long answering emails and solving problems. Now, what happens at the end of the workday? Does the worker just throw down their pen and completely stop thinking? No, they've probably got some things to reflect on, to plan for tomorrow, maybe even some unfinished business to deal with. That's exactly what your brain does when you sleep. Sure, it's not processing emails or answering calls, but it's still hard at work. During sleep, especially in the REM phase, which stands for rapid eye movement, your brain is processing information, consolidating memories, and even solving problems. It's like your brain is going through a mental cleanup, sorting everything from your day, and sometimes even figuring out solutions to things you've been stressing about. For example, have you ever woken up after a night of sleep, suddenly having a fresh solution to a problem that had been nagging you the day before? That's your brain working its magic while you were in dreamland. But what is REM sleep exactly? To start with, sleep isn't just one long, uninterrupted stretch of shut-eye. Your sleep is made of different stages, and they cycle throughout the night. These stages include light sleep, deep sleep, and of course, REM sleep. While deep sleep is essential for physical restoration and your body's recovery, REM sleep is where your brain really goes into full action. During REM sleep, your brain is almost like it's awake. But here's the twist. Your body is in a state of paralysis. This is called REM atonia. Basically, your muscles are turned off temporarily to prevent you from acting out your dreams. It's like your brain is throwing a mental party and your body is politely asked to stay away and watch, as it is in one famous meme with a guy standing in a corner of the room where people are dancing. I'm sure you know this one, but if you don't, just Google it. What's most interesting, that you might notice your eyes darting around behind your eyelids during this phase, and that's why it's named rapid eye movement. It is a clear sign that your brain is processing, organizing memories, and of course, dreaming. It's during this stage that your brain isn't just working through the day's events, but it's also actively generating the wild, weird, and unexplainable scenarios that we recognize as dreams. For centuries, people have been trying to figure out what's going on in our heads while sleeping. Are our dreams just a random collection of thoughts, or is there a deeper meaning? As we know now, dreams are mostly related to the REM phase of sleeping. But what actually happens during this phase? First up, dreaming. Our brain tries to process our emotions. Think of it as it's cleaning up the place. After a long day full of experiences, whether it's stress, joy, or confusion, your brain needs a way to make sense of everything you've been through. Dreams are thought to help you sort through and digest all your messy feelings. Have you ever had a dream about something that happened early in the day, like a conversation or a situation that left you feeling uneasy? You might think, why did I dream about that? Well, that's your brain's way of processing and trying to make sense of your emotions. For example, if you had a stressful day at work, you might dream about being chased by your boss or giving a presentation in your underwear. And you might ask, why? Because why not? This could be your brain trying to recognize your feelings of stress, anxiety, or fear, helping you process them in a way that doesn't feel so overwhelming when you're awake. So your dreams are weird. They're actually helping you emotionally recover and get things in perspective. Next, what happens is memory consolidation. During the day, we take in tons of information, and when we sleep, our brain goes through the process of deciding what's worth remembering and what can be tossed in the metal bin. And this is where dreams come into play. It's like your brain is a super organized office assistant, deciding what goes into long-term memory storage and what has to be recycled. So if you ever woken up and thought, why did I dream about that random thing from last week? It's probably because your brain was giving that memory a final inspection before it either filed it away or let it go. Here is a fun theory next. Dreams can help us solve problems. Sometimes, the best ideas don't come when you're staring at a blank page or stressing over a project. They come when your mind is free to wander during sleep. This is because dreams allow you to think outside the box, without constraints of logic or reality. Some of the world's most famous inventors and thinkers have created their big ideas dreaming. Take Mary Shelley, for example, who came up with the idea for Frankenstein after a vivid dream. Or Dmitri Mendeleev, who created the periodic table of elements after dreaming about the arrangement of them. And let's not forget about Paul McCartney, who wrote the melody for the Beatles song Yesterday After dreaming it, these aha moments in dreams might be your brain's way of pulling together scattered thoughts, looking for solutions to problems, and coming up with new ideas without you even realizing it. So the next time you wake up with an odd idea, don't brush it off. It could be your brain doing some serious problem solving while you were off in dreamland. Now, I reckon it's time to dig into some of the most common dreams mysteries that leave us scratching our heads when we wake up. These are the kinds of dreams that stick with you, make you question reality, or simply leave you wondering, what was that all about? Let's take a look at them and try to resolve. Falling dreams are among the most common types of dreams people experience, and it's always the same sequence. You're plummeting towards the ground, panic sets in, and just before you smack into the earth, you get awake. So why does this happen? It turns out this phenomenon is likely related to our fight-or-flight response. The sensation of falling may trigger a subconscious fear, and your brain reacts by getting you awake to save you from the imagined impact. It's almost as if your brain's going, "Okay, it's time to wake up before we actually hit the ground." Another theory suggests that this sensation of falling is linked to loss of control or feeling insecure in waking life. When you feel vulnerable, or like you're falling in your day-to-day life, like a stressful job situation or relationship troubles, your brain might translate those feelings into a falling dream. Whatever the reason, one thing is sure, it's never pleasant, and you'll always be relieved when you wake up right before you hit the ground. Have you ever had a dream about someone you haven't thought about for ages? Maybe an old friend, a distant relative, or even an ex. It's like they just pop into your head out of nowhere. So why does this happen? One reason is that our brains are constantly processing memories, even when we're asleep. You might not consciously think about someone from your past, but your brain might still be holding on to memories involving them. Dreams about people from our past often occur when there's something unresolved or unfinished that our minds are trying to work through. It's also possible that your brain's pulling from long-term memories and bringing up someone from your past who represents something important, whether it's a feeling, a lesson, or a certain phase of your life. Sometimes, dreams about these people aren't necessarily about them, but rather the emotions or experiences that this person represents. Or maybe your brain just needs some nostalgia now and then, and wants to remind you of a simpler time. Or, more likely, it's having a random nostalgia-filled moment. Either way, that person has clearly made an impression, and your subconscious hasn't forgotten them. Now imagine this. You're dreaming, but suddenly you realize that you're dreaming. You can control what happens next, walk through walls, fly like a superhero, or take a stroll on the moon. This, my friends, is known as lucid dreaming, and while it sounds like something out of a sci-fi film, it's a real phenomenon. Lucid dreaming occurs when you're aware that you're dreaming while still in the dream, which opens the door to controlling the dream's narrative. Some people train themselves to become lucid dreamers, and once they master the art, they can have incredible control over their dreams, whether it's for fun or to confront fears. Is there any science behind it? Well, it's a bit of a mystery, but lucid dreaming happens when the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain that controls self-awareness, stays active during REM sleep. Usually, this part of the brain shuts down during sleeping, but in lucid dreaming, it stays on, allowing you to realize that you're in a dream. Getting started with lucid dreaming takes practice, but some techniques like reality checks during the day, which is, for example, asking yourself, "Am I dreaming?" or keeping a dream journal, can increase your chances of becoming a lucid dreamer. And once you get the hang of it, you might realize yourself floating through your dreams like a wizard. Finally, let's talk about one of the oldest and most fascinating questions about dreams. Do they predict the future? The idea that dreams are a form of prophecy has been around for centuries. People have believed for ages that dreams can reveal hidden truths, foreshadow events, or even give us a glimpse into what's to come. In some cultures, dreams are seen as powerful omens, while in others, certain dream symbols are thought to hold prophetic meaning. For example, dreaming of a black cat might mean bad luck, while dreaming of a loved one could signify that they need help. But do dreams really predict the future? Most scientists agree that dreams are not actually precognitive. Instead, they often reflect our subconscious thoughts, emotions, and worries. However, the link between dreams and future events may be more about coincidence than anything supernatural. That being said, there are still many who believe that dreams are a way of turning into deeper wisdom, guiding us towards the right choices, and shedding light on situations that are unclear in our waking lives. So, whether you think your dream about winning the lottery is a sign or just a coincidence, it's always worth paying attention to what your dreams might be telling you about your current state of mind. After all of this talk about falling, flying, and dreaming about random people from our past, the big question remains: do dreams really matter? Well, despite all their weirdness and unpredictability, dreams do serve a purpose in how we process our lives. Think of them as your brain's way of hitting the reset button. Dreams help us sort through emotions, store memories, and even come up with solutions to problems we didn't know we had. They might not always be the most logical or easy to interpret, but they're a vital part of how we understand our minds. Even if you wake up from a dream and think, "What on earth was that?" your brain is just probably working overtime to help you process everything that's been going on in your life. So while you might not always remember your dreams or understand why you had that bizarre encounter with a talking cat, they play an important role in keeping your mind in balance. And hey, remember, dreams don't always have to make sense. So next time you wake up from a dream about fighting a giant chicken, just remember, it's probably your brain doing some late night cleaning. So, I think it's time to wrap up. I really hope you've enjoyed this episode, and if you have, remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons, because there are more fascinating and incredible episodes to come. Moreover, if you have trouble understanding this episode, go on my Telegram channel via the link in the description of this episode, and you'll find the script and word set for this episode completely free of charge. And the last but not the least, if you have trouble learning English, or you are feeling stuck not knowing what to do to develop your knowledge, then you can always write me on Angliski по-Британски on VK or on Telegram and ask for help. I'm always glad to see new faces joining the classes. Thank you for listening. My name's been Ivan. Stay tuned and have only sweet dreams. Tada!